我諗呢個都係因為好多人想知嘅，即係可能我哋唔會激面住咩係啊，見到呢啲嘢做下。So we are live now. No rush, no rush. So we are getting more people first.
Yeah.
兩個，我自己。可以啊，可以啊 ，share 你個 wall 度。茶收市。
Kabinett trocken.
Kann man auch gut für Fisch.
So what's your plan later today? What's your plan later of today? Going back
we have a lot of tastings coming up this afternoon as well.
Oh, yeah.
For the tasting. And then he has another live meeting with Giusterini and Brooks in the UK. Yeah. So live with several winemakers.
Yeah, I think we have 5 or 6 winemakers and also 1 hour, and we instead of our annual presentation in London with the importer, what is not possible this year, we make something like an online similar to here, but with more winemakers talking about the vintage, mainly vintage 2019 challenges, less the story, because it's I think it's more with customers knowing us, so we can go a little bit more into detail and talking about vintages and the weather season, August, September, October during the picking period, and and how is the style of the vintage. So I think it's 1 hour max. The session, and so with 6 or 7 winemakers, so everybody can answer very quickly a few questions, and that this is intermediate chat with all the people. And then I think it's similar to the format here, that there are in the background some questions from the people are popping up, and somebody who is the moderator of the, like you do, they are popping in a few questions for us. So it's similar thing. This is the replacement. I think this is the replacement in 2020 for all the travels, for all the tasting, and I don't know. Nobody knows. I think at the moment when we will be back to normal. So we discussed the last few days with several people regarding Pro Wine in Düsseldorf next year in March. to be honest, I'm not sure if it will take place. It's not far away, and you know, the fair, they have to organize everything, and I'm status quo today, I would say there is no fair, because so many people, you know, it's 40, 50, 60,000 people are coming from all over the world, and then plus the winemaker, plus I think 6,000 winemakers, and yeah, and then you know with
300,000.
No.
And what about
Anyway, it's, and you know, it's a special situation. It's not in a restaurant where you are seated and then the service is coming. At the Pro Wine, you are going to the stand, you are chatting, you are spitting, and it's a little bit it's a little bit difficult, I think.
and what about the upcoming auction? So people have to bid online only, or?
The auction, you mean?
What do you mean, auction? What you asked?
The upcoming auction.
The auction, yeah. The auction is next Friday, and it's similar thing. So we have the room where where the auction is taking place. So it's in a hotel, and the hotel told us how many seats we have for the pre-tasting and for the auction in the afternoon. So I think we have just 49 seats available, and then we invited people, but a couple of people they said that they are not coming, or the company is not allowing to fly to Trier. So it's also similar now, more online, and so also for you, if you are interested, there is you can tell it. Maybe it's
I'll send it to them.
Also,
Go on.
I'm sure it's very busy schedule for both of you. So I also like to take the opportunity to thank you both and to take the time to do Wassensour, the live tasting with us in a busy schedule. So shall we get started officially? So I will do a very short introduction in Cantonese first.
Yeah.
So, hello 大家好，咁咧我哋啱啱夏天咧，我哋就啱啱就差唔多完啦。咁啊嚟緊我哋9月啦，大概9月頭啦，咁啊嚟緊我哋月尾咧就有一個好重要嘅節日，中秋節啦。咁香港人，咁大家香港人都好重視呢個節日啦。咁所以咧，我哋嚟緊今日啦，加埋嚟緊呢3個禮拜咧，total 4集咧，我哋就會講下一啲我哋唔同嘅酒，配翻中秋節唔同應節嘅食物。咁我諗好多人今年就可能要留喺屋企食飯，未必出到街食飯啦。咁啊記得可能買多少啲酒，咁啊喺屋企存貨多啲，咁我哋配翻嗰啲唔同嘅食物啦。咁今日咧，咁啊成日有啲客人問我咧，就食一餐飯配啲咩酒好咧？咁我通常我就會好自然咁諗起 Riesling。咁點解咧？咁啊 Riesling 咧就因為我又自己都好中意飲 Riesling 嘅。咁因為係自己可以 Riesling 本身嘅提子可以做到唔同style 嘅酒，可以好 dry 啦，可以好甜啦。咁其實真係一個提子可以由開頭你食飯之前 casual chit chat 飲，一路去到中間你食海鮮啊、食肉啊，去到臨尾食甜品，包括咧我哋今日準備咗嘅月餅啦。咁佢個甜嘅 Riesling 咧都可以配得到嘅。咁今日我哋好高興就，我哋通常諗起 Riesling 就諗起德國啦。咁德國最出名嘅產區就 Mosel 啦。咁我哋好高興揾到Hart Family Thomas 同埋 Laura 兩父女咧，咁嚟到介紹佢哋嘅做酒嘅哲學啦，同埋介紹佢哋嘅 Riesling。
好啦，咁我哋都開始啦。So thank you Thomas and Laura joining us Wassen's hour. So we're very happy to have you and to share with you Mid-Autumn Festival food.
Especially in the very busy schedule. So they just told me that they're probably going to have us next week. So in this critical moment, they still a lot of time to do the live with us. Thank you very much.
So Thomas and Laura, can you share with us about the story of Schloss?
Yeah, sure. So also from our side, welcome to this Watson's Wine Hour. And yes, for sure, we take the time and are happy to be part of this session. And regarding the story or the background, So my wife and I, we came in the beginning of the 90s to the winery, and after studying and working abroad, I got the offer from this estate, and it belongs in the past to the original castle, but they sold the winery in the beginning of the 70s. So there was an owner in the 70s, one more owner in the 80s, and then we came in the beginning of the 90s. And the winery, everything, the buildings, the vineyards were in a very, very bad and poor condition. No bottle of wine in the cellar, not one customer, zero. We were quite extremely young. We were mid of 20s, and yeah, with no money, but we started this challenge, and we bought this property and started with 6 hectares. Okay, you pop in the photos. Yeah, this is the winery.
No.
And now, yeah, the
How old is
winery.
the building?
And the winery 30 years ago was in a much more worse shape, and but we started step by step and renovated the whole winery, the buildings, the roof, and also increased the size of the winery up to 25 hectares today, with 9 different cranberries, or the cranberries in the middle Mosel, but I think we speak about this later. And what I told you, we started with not one customer, and then we started step by step in the German market and also abroad, so that we have today around 50% export, plus German trade, plus private customers. So a wonderful mixture, and we are producing, it depends on the vintage, between 35 and 45 different wines per vintage.
So what is the key philosophy of your winemaking? So I heard that like you focus on Riesling only.
Sure, I think you should do what you can do as its best, and this is for Mosel absolutely Riesling, and this is Riesling's heart is beating in the Mosel Saarlouis region, and we try to produce on a very fine, delicate, elegant style coming from this cool climate area, and with a wonderful mineral background, and the balance between the fruit, the acidity, the alcohol, taking care that the alcohol is not getting too high, and so with a really good complexity without getting fat or opulent. On the other side, extremely fine and delicate and not getting light, and then combine these two sides and perfectly balanced, and everything we work very nature near, and everything is fermented with the native yeast, so a little bit more cool and more reductive, more mineral driven style. And the wines needs a little bit time to develop, and it's so on that they have a very long life, and all the way focusing on the different terroirs of the different cranberries. This is the key.
Yeah. So like I agree that like we are tasting 2 wines from our side. So we are doing the Cabernet Franc and also the Spätlese. So both of the wine, I feel the minerality, and also the very like slight smokiness of the wines. So I think it's like a signature of Schloss. So I guess we cannot find it the same taste or the aroma from other producer. So it's very unique from Mosel. Like, is it like because of the soil of the Mosel or your vineyard, just makes that unique aromas or flavor?
So yeah, you showed us the 2 wines. So it's the first wine is we call it Gutswein or estate wines, and everybody needs to know that all the wines are coming from our own vineyard. So we never buy any fruit or wine and juice. So I know exactly where the grapes are coming from, and what you told in your introduction in the first few minutes, we are just ahead of the new vintage, and this is the key period during the year, and I need to know exactly where the grapes are coming from. And the Cabernet Trocken is a little bit more a blend of different crus, and both wines are coming from 2017. So, which is a vintage, and you spoke about the minerality, which is a very classic, cool style vintage with a good mineral background coming from the maybe blue slate soil, and the crispiness, the crunchiness, the minerality, the stoniness, and but balanced with a fine, delicate structure and balanced on a very limited alcohol content.
So like back to the region. So Mosel is one of the most famous wine region in Germany. So can you tell us more about like how unique is this region, or what's the challenge to make wines in Mosel?
Yeah, I think what makes the Mosel so special is the unique landscape. So I mean, everything, like you said, we do everything on its own, and everything is hand-picked. We can never use any machines. So all our core cru vineyards are up to 75, up to 80% steepness, which is, this is a challenge because, like you said, 25 hectares in size, but we have 185 plots where we have to go to. So this in the harvest time, which is starting now, makes it a huge challenge to really focus on the perfect ripeness level. For us, it's always important when we're going to pick the grapes. It's not what's going to happen in the cellar. We do not, like you said, do not do much. We want to focus on terroir. So for us, it's extremely important when to pick the grapes. And that makes it very challenging to find everything really perfect. And also now with climate change, you also have to deal with other problems or challenges. So yeah, that's the thing, but that makes it extremely unique. We're still cool climate. We see it now. We have good temperatures a day, but it cools up at night, which is perfect for the aroma intensity. It's now really, it stays dry. So yeah, it's
yeah, but this is, I think, the climate changes, and we, you know, working every day in the nature, we feel that there is an extreme climate change. You know, I'm not the youngest anymore, so I grew up in the. I remember the first vintages during the 70s or 80s, where Lara was not born, but this was a completely different scenery in comparison to today. And so we are not discussing quality anymore, because this is the positive effect of the climate change, that we are by the ripeness, by the physiological ripeness, we are always perfect on in level. You know, remember in the 70s or 80s, we had some very, very poor vintages with a high, very crispy apple acidity, not any complexity, not any ripeness. And today, this is not anymore the key. The key is what Lara told us now, the upcoming harvest, that there we are extremely perfect in timing, picking the right grapes in the right vineyard. And this is the absolutely key thing. We are not going to the vineyard and pick all the grapes. So we are going there minimum 3 times, sometimes 4 times, pick the grapes for the cabinet, or pick later the cabinet for the grapes for the Spätlese. We have so many different plots, and I know each vineyard, I know each plot of my 185 vineyards, and I know how they react, maybe if the weather changes, if some rain is coming or whatever. And this is the key. And we are extremely focused and concentrated during, or we have to be very concentrated during the harvest, because in the cellar afterwards we are not doing any miracles. It's very simple things, and but the key is doing the perfect selection. For example, for these 2 wines, that's a cabinet drop and is mineral driven. That is complex, but it is all. But it should be fine and delicate, not overpowered. And the Spätlese with more complexity, that maybe a little bit. It's coming up with more creaminess and fine balance based on low alcohol, no botrytis inside. So absolutely golden ripe grapes. And again, back to the harvest, the selection is the key, nothing else.
As you mentioned, when during the harvest time, you go to the vineyards not only once, but many times, 3 or 4 times. So I want to know, like, usually when you start harvest and when you finish it for a vintage. Usually you
How
start
long?
early.
How long the harvest takes time?
It's about
It depends on it depends a little bit on the weather conditions and on the season. So, for example, if we compare 2018 with 2019, 18, you know, the sun was shining nearly up to end of October, beginning of November. So no rush. So we had perfect weather conditions, and we picked grapes, and there were a little bit more grapes outside in comparison to 2019. So we picked grapes nearly 6 weeks. In 2019, the September was a little bit more wet, which is good for the stylistic, where the minerality is coming from. So, and then with the time window for picking grapes was more limited in 2019. So 4 weeks max, and then then there was game over. So we have to bring in the grapes within 4 weeks, doing all the different selections. And so it depends on the season, on the September, October weather. We normally, or not normally, we nowadays start always picking grapes in September, not anymore like in the past beginning or mid of October. No, the weather, back to the climate change. The climate change is responsible that we have already perfect physiological ripeness mid or around 20th or lately 25th of September, and starting the first selections. And and this is everything is getting not strange but different, and we have to update us year for year for the new situation. And the weather extremes are coming up more and more, like drought, like I don't know, hail is coming more often, what we not had so often in the past. This is a little bit the key.
So, like, I got a question from the audience. So, do you make red wine?
Red?
Red
No,
wine.
we're not doing any red. So we have some colleagues in the Mosel doing some Pinots, and I think by the statistics, I think we nearly have 10% red in total in the Mosel Saruba area. Few guys are doing some very fine and delicate Pinots, but the majority of the reds are not. They are not on the high end level.
And it's not Pinot Noir, it's something like
Dornfelder. It's Dornfelder, which is a very common grape which nobody needs, to be honest.
So talking about the harvest, Mosel area. So customer, like people in Hong Kong, are familiar with Grand Cru in Burgundy. So as the video you took before, so you mentioned about like Grand Cru from your estate. So what happened, like the Grand Cru of Germany? Can you like tell us more about the system or classification in Germany?
Yeah. So we are member of the VDP, which are the best German wineries, and they follow a classification where we're following the classification of the VDP. And it's a 4-tier system. It's based on the one in Burgundy, with the Gutsweine, so the estate wine, which is now the Cabinet Dry. And then the second step is village wine in Ortswein, so specifically just from one village. And then the third step is Erste Lage, which would be Premier Cru. We do not have that in the Mosel region because everything what you see now with the dark spots, with the red ones, everything is Grand Cru.
Okay. So that's why Mosel is the prime region in Germany.
Yeah. Yeah, everything what you see is Grand Cru. And the Niederberghelden Spätlese, for example, is a große Lage, a Grand Cru wine coming from the Niederberghelden. So directly from the Grand Cru in this town where we are based. And it's good for the people, especially on the international market. I think that the classification of the VDP is extremely good because it's very terroir driven. It's always with the aim to show the character of each vineyard. And the customers know exactly where they are. Also, you see it on the capsule. There's always written Gutswein, Ortswein, or Große Lage. So yeah,
Small version.
Yeah. So you know where it comes from. If the VDP eagle is on it, everything has to come from your own vineyard sites. The große Lage is written on the label as well. So I think it's a really good step. And even the estate wines, it's a good entrance for the people, for everyone to get in. It's for that high quality and something you can drink every day, or just sitting outside and enjoying and pairing with food as well. Yeah.
So if you see from a VDP Mosel winery the label or the bottle with a vineyard name, we always have a Grand Cru inside. Yeah. So then we have on the fruity side, we have still the steps, the original traditional steps with Kabinett, Spätlese and Auslese. And if the Grand Cru is dry styled, we name it GG or Großes Gewächs. Yes, the box of the wood box, these are the GGs, and they are correct. And then signed by myself. And
so the customer, the fans in Hong Kong, so get the chance. So we have limited quantity of the box set.
It's a GG set.
It's a GG box set, so all the bottles are signed by Thomas.
Yeah. And so if it is a GG or groß, we call it Großes Gewächs GG, then it is dry style. And if the Grand Crus are fruity style, we just use the names, traditional steps, Kabinett, Spätlese, Auslese. And I think the map before you showed or you popped in with all this old map. Yes. So you see here, this is a very, very old map from 1865. From the Preußisch government. So as darker the color you see, as darker or more red the color is, as higher is the quality, and as higher were the taxes they have to pay for. And this was the basis for us to judge the vineyards into the Grand Cru status.
Yeah.
So I got a question from the chat room that so like the sweet wine. So like personally, my first ever wine is a German Riesling cabinet. So our audience from the chat room said that, do the German people drink more sweet style like Spätlese, Auslese than the dry style? Because she think that the sweet wine style is not super popular in Hong Kong. So I mean, like for my normal opinion, the cabinet style is quite popular, but not the upper, the sweeter one. Because maybe the weather, maybe the cuisine. What do you think? Like, how's the drinking habit in Germany?
In general, the Germans want to prefer dry wines more. But what we see now is that especially the section with Kabinett, what you told as well, is getting more and more popular. Especially in my age, the young people, they are getting more and more interested in wine as well. They want to know more about it. And then they see that Kabinett is such a unique style and such a good price value as well. I mean, you can keep it for 20, 30 years and you're getting a Grand Cru Kabinett. It's something that they really get into. So it's more, this is like a bit move, but usually when they drink something to food or in comparison with that, they would more go for dry or maybe off dry wine.
I think also, I completely agree what Lara said. So in the normal, so with more German food, we prefer more the dry wines, but especially with the Asian cuisine, and we had it here a few days ago, we had some Indian curry, so Indian inspired food, and we opened a 15 Kabinett. 15 was a cooler vintage with a good acidity background, and we drink the wine first. And it was very crispy and fresh and a little bit acidic, but very fine and delicate. And then we taste afterwards the wine in combination with the food. And then you have the spiciness and all the ingredients. it was an amazing harmony with this cabinet, and the cabinet loses a little bit the very cool acidic touch, so creates a creaminess in combination with the food. Was perfect. And then based on 8.5 alcohol, alcohol is getting more and more important. People are talking about alcohol and climate change. We get higher grape sugar in the grapes, and higher grape sugar indicates higher alcohol. So this is for us also one of the challenges that we take care that the alcohol is always perfectly integrated and limited. And then also what Lara told you, the young generation is taking a look on the label, how high is the alcohol, because maybe they want to go afterwards to, I don't know.
And also where does it come from? More to quality and
yeah. And so I think cabinet is one of the top values on the planet for a small amount of money, coming from Grand Cru vineyards, amazing wines for drinking in a very young stage, maybe with more primary fruit and spritziness and freshness and purity, but it's always also perfect for aging and for 20-30 years, and then combine it with so many different dishes. It's great value, something special.
So Thomas, do you make more dry style wine, or you make more fruity style?
Originally, the Mosel Aruba winemakers are coming more from the fruity side, so from the sweeter wines. And but now with the climate change in the background, with the riper fruit and the perfect physiological ripeness, we are now able also to produce a big range of very ripe, complex dry wines as well, and with the school character focused on terroir, on minerality, fermented with the native yeast, so good complexity, and with these kind of wines we can compete very well, not just in the German market but also in the export business. And so we see since maybe 4 or 5 years that the dry wines or the demand for dry wines from the export is still increasing, not rapidly, but step by step. And so the percentage of dry wines is getting bigger, and it depends on the vintage. And for us, so it's an advantage because we can produce both parties. We can produce the dry wines and we can produce the fruity wines, and we can sell both parties. And so we are extremely independent. So I can do always the best what the grape is giving me or showing me. Not each grape is perfect for dry or for fruity. So this is again back to the selection. And so in some vintages, maybe 2006 or 2010, the percentage of fruity wines are higher because the grapes were perfect for fruity wines. And in other vintages like 18 or 19, the percentage of dry wines is higher because the grapes are perfect for the dry section. So we are very independent, and I can perfectly select the grapes for the wines. And again, this is also very important. I'm not going to, I'm doing the cellar completely alone, and I'm just communicating with my right-hand guy about the selections, about picking the grapes, where to start, where to go, where to continue. And I'm not choosing later on in the cellar, this might be this, or this might be a cabinet, or this might be Spätlese. No, we go exactly outside to the vineyard and pick cabinet grapes or Spätlese grapes or GG grapes.
So talking about the food pairing. So because the Mid-Autumn Festival is coming, so it will be at the end of this month. So it's like a big family festival in Hong Kong. So for food pairing, so for the Cabernet Trocken, so we prepare some fresh fruit, so a star fruit to be exact. So which we usually eat in Mid-Autumn Festival because we celebrate the moon and the star. And so in Germany, so what will you pair with this one? So Cabernet Trocken.
We would pair something like this with lighter meals, like fish, for example, with potato mash, or chicken, like some light light foods, not too heavy, like not dark meat, more like a lighter meat for it. Also some fried rice or fried noodles, something like this, just in combination, which is really good with a lot of vegetables as well. So something like this, we would pair to. Like that is a wine which we can just drink as before the wine, just even open it, you can just drink it a glass because it's, I mean, just I think 11.5 alcohol, so really light, extremely fine. So drink it besides your cooking, and then afterwards just
Exactly.
you know, it's always with a meal.
So that's why we will do that as well, yeah, again. So as a before the dinner, so a happy hour.
Yeah.
And this is very great wine.
Yeah.
For that occasion, and also like for like lighter snacks or some fresh fruit, and you can easily pair with it, like very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then we also pick another
So another wine like
food, the mooncake, which made of
Lieser hidden Swetless Riesling. So we pick a mooncake. The traditional mooncake is basically sweet, but a touch of saltiness because of the egg yolk inside. So I would say like the sweetness go very well with the Swetless, and the minerality goes with the saltiness of the egg yolk. So this is our recommendation for the Mid-Autumn Festival. So what about in Germany? So what will you pair with the Swetless?
We would pair Spätlese with I think Spätlese is something we will put out in a few years with a Reit Spätlese. You can just drink it on its own as an aperitif or something, or you pair it with like what I said with curries. That's needed, but with German food like some cheese platters, for example, with a bit of creamy cheeses. We do as well. Maybe foie gras, something like this.
Well, maybe it is.
A bit dry.
Should be
A bit
richer.
more sweeter.
Should be more sweeter. But also just what Lara said, just drinking by itself, you know. Also in Germany, it's quite popular to sit together with friends, talking, or if I'm alone reading a book or watching a soccer game at the TV, something like this. And then I prefer this kind of wine, fine, delicate, fruity, balanced, minerality in the background, the fresh acidity, and based on such a low alcohol, you know, 7.5, 8%, quite low. You never get drunken, and just enjoy the sip of wine. And you know, and this is what I always tell the customers: if you maybe enjoy just one glass, no problem. Put the cork on it, back to the fridge. Keep it to the next evening or 2 evenings later. You get to take the next glass. Sometimes if it's a young vintage, the wines are showing maybe better on day 2 or day 3 because a little bit air contact and the wine can breathe. And so this is no problem to just to empty it through a couple days.
And then try it out with different foods. That's what we do as well. Even if we have it dark, we try it out. Sometimes it really works with the sweetness, and you have that, what you said as well, the saltiness, the smokiness. It really can work, and that's what we're doing. If something is there's a rest, we just try another day, and I don't know.
And if the pairing is not working, then it's not working. Then you are all, then you know it's maybe not the best pairing. You should choose some other wines, or you open a second bottle from another region, or maybe red. And so this is, you know, wine is a part of communication as well, together with other people talking about wine or other things. And
but you have to say that with the different variations of sweetness, especially in the Riesling and the different styles of Riesling, I think that it's so good in combination with food. And there's just not one thing. Even if we try it out a lot of time, we're very impressed into how many things it's going extremely well. Even like what I said, a bit more darker things. You can just try it out. Riesling is usually a grape which can be combined extremely well with a lot of different dishes and styles and cuisines, and that's what we really.
I mean, like a lot of people are afraid of sweet wine because they think that it's too heavy, or they cannot drink a couple of glasses. But I would say that like Riesling is never the case.
No.
So especially like in your wines, so you feel the sweetness, but at the same time, it's the very like fresh, very sharp acidity to balance the sweetness perfectly. So you don't feel clogging, you don't feel heavy. So you think like you would drink more.
Yeah.
So this is very. That's why I enjoy drinking Riesling a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the Riesling can
Right.
put a lot of sweetness without even knowing it. Yeah, we can with acidity and balance. It doesn't really taste that sweet. It's not overloaded by sweetness. Yeah, it's so fresh and full of energy. Yeah, especially after a long day of work. Yeah, especially the day when it's busy. In the evening, we enjoy a cabinet or a Spätlese just sitting outside, and it really gives us energy again. Yeah, it's refreshing. It's making fun to drink. It's with the acidity, with the sweetness. It's more energy. You don't need something which with a lot of alcohol or fat ones that's just making us a bit more tired. Something like this really keeps us up and it's giving us a bit more energy. That's what we. Yeah.
So I have one last question, and like for a new wine lover, like a new drinker, so like they know that German wine, German Riesling, they have sweet style and dry style. How do they tell, like if you haven't tried the wine, how do they tell on the label to see whether it's a dry one or the sweet one? Any tips on that?
So normally on the dry wines there is always trocken mentioned on the label, but the second thing is just look at the alcohol. So if the alcohol is 2 digits, so that means 10.5 or higher up to 13, normally it is dry or dry styled. And if the alcohol is below 10, so 9 or lower, the minimum alcohol content is 7.0 for Cabernet Spätlese. So if it is between 7.0 and 9, it indicates you a fruitier, sweeter wine. If it is not mentioned on if not anything is mentioned on the label, just have a look at the alcohol and you see if it is more dry styled, or if it is like a Spätlese. I think in the Spätlese there we have 7.5, normally between 7.5 or 8 alcohol.
So for the trocken we have 11.5. So it's more like a higher style. Yeah. So it's very useful tip. Tips have been
easy to
very easy to differentiate the style. I've been that stage before. So like when before I joined the industry, so I walk in the wine shop. I don't know which one is dry, which one is sweet. So like with the alcohol level and also the word trocken, TROCKEN, and so it's very easy. And GG. Yeah. So it's easier for the customer to tell whether it's a dry one or a sweet one.
And the GGs are the GGs are always really dry, because in our case I don't want to put too much fruit into the GGs. With the GGs I want to absolutely focus on terroir, so on where the grapes are coming from. The terroir means the microclimate, the soil, the slate, the water in the ground, and so focus much more on minerality and where it's coming from, and not too much fruit. And this is the reason why the GGs are quite dry, trocken.
And then also alcohol is higher.
And the alcohol is in the GG is between 12.5 and 13. But with the complexity and the density, it works very well.
Yeah, thanks for the tips, and thanks a lot again for taking the time to do the live, especially in a very busy time for you guys. Good luck to your harvest, and thanks everyone for watching the live as well. So stay tuned. Next week we have a red wine. We have a red wine from Rioja.
Thank you very much, and thanks again, and stay healthy and drink a lot of wine.
Thank you. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Ciao.